Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from skiessentials.com.
I'm Bob. Happy Friday.
Welcome back to our Top 5 Fridays ski industry news videos. Bob, welcome back.
Thank you. I guess I didn't need the week off last week, but it was nice to have.
But you utilized it?
Sure did.
You put it to work?
Yep.
Sweet. We were joking that we could say that Matt aged 20 years again.
Yeah, we got a whole Benjamin Button thing going on in this seat right here.
Yeah, it's wild.
You never know what you're going to get.
You sit down in that chair and like you could be 24, you could be,
Yep.
I don't know, 44,
I'm 45, and I
45?
think Matt's 25.
Yeah, so
yeah, 20-year difference.
what happens if you sit down and you're 65?
I don't know. Maybe we'll see next week.
I gotta find the 65-year-old that looks kind of like you and Matt to come to next week's video. Actually, while we're on the topic, you won't be here next Friday either.
Well, maybe I will.
The 65-year-old version of you. Any housekeeping news before we get into the news topics? I suppose we got these.
Get some
skis
props,
here.
yeah.
Yeah. So little sneak peek on what you can expect to see next week. We do have another ski that's right there off camera that we will likely talk about first. But I spent a ton of time, not on that exact pair, but I spent a ton of time on ARV 94s this season. This is the ARW 94, and we had Emily ski that a lot too. So next week you'll see a video of Emily and myself chatting about new ARW 94s, which I think is going to be really fun. Both of us, like Emily and I met 20 years ago, both like park skiers.
Yeah.
So kind of fun for us to get to talk about something like this.
Yeah, it all comes back around, doesn't it?
Yep. You keep your Kesley boot on? No, you took
No,
it
I
off.
took it off.
Bob did his Kesley K130P review this week. That was super interesting. We talked about these Blaze 82s. Emily was in that as well. It's fun to watch her bash through some moguls.
Yep.
A lot of people are impressed by Emily's skiing, understandably so.
I also got some compliments on my following camera footage too, which is always nice to hear.
Totally.
Not to take away from the star.
Emily's strength to weight ratio off the charts.
It is pretty amazing.
I don't think they have that plot on the graph.
No.
Breaks the graph. So yeah, keep an eye out for this next week. I think with that said, we can get right into the news. So very event-heavy news this week, which I'm excited about. Recapping kind of 3 free ski events. So first topic of the week, Red Bull Cascade. That was Bobby Brown's event at Winter Park. Was, in all sense of the word, a huge success, I think.
Yeah, pretty cool how they formatted it. If you click on the links there in the article, it takes you to the head-to-head runs, which is a really cool way of viewing it.
Yeah, I was really glad that they published it that way, because sometimes you'll have events like this and it's just not super easy to see as much as you wish you had seen. Shout out to the drone pilots and the follow cam guys.
Cam was awesome to watch.
Yeah, some close calls in there too, which you and I can understand, doing a lot of follow camming in a given season. So super cool to watch. It was tournament style, like you were talking about, Bob. So like head-to-head, elimination style tournament. I really enjoyed watching the skiing itself. Just a ton of cool runs, a lot of different tricks, a lot of different options in like how you went down the mountain. And I just thought it was really interesting to see the skiers that I'm used to seeing excel in slopestyle competitions or like big air park shoots or something like a kind of a controlled environment. And I thought this was more representative of how well-rounded those guys are as skiers.
Right.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like had to carve some turns, had to like wiggle through some trees, had to do tricks like they normally do, and fun.
You always hear stories of skiers like I heard a story from like Julia Mancuso's coach who said that like you only get to see her ski in the race course.
Right.
But when you see her on the mountain, free skiing, bowls, like natural terrain, just unbelievable.
Right.
Sean White, another rider that like, you think about him in the half pipe.
Right.
But then, his coach is like just an unbelievable athlete,
Yeah.
unbelievable rider in all sorts of conditions and terrain. So
Yeah.
you kind of forget that these people have
Totally.
like a legit skiing background and aren't just pigeonholed into their
Absolutely.
little thing.
Yeah, so I thought that was awesome,
Yep.
and I really hope that there are more events like this to come. Bob, you brought up an excellent point. If we were
Yeah.
to point our finger at one aspect of this event, they did emphasize that it was a 2-mile long course.
And I brought it up when we first talked about it. I'm
That
like,
how
2
long?
miles,
That's really
like
long.
that's really long. I'll be
Yep.
very interested to see how these skiers handle
Yep.
a 2-mile long course.
So it was described as a 2-mile long course. Bob, you correctly brought up that they were minute-long runs, and I don't know that they were averaging 120 miles per hour.
We didn't get to see them actually go through the finish line. Maybe it was a lot farther. Like a lot of the drone footage ended after the last jump.
Correct. That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Or maybe there was a mile-long unofficial
Right.
start.
Yeah, I don't know how they did that, but a minute is not 2 miles.
And honestly, if that's the one thing that we can complain about,
Yeah.
then they did a great job.
No, and totally. Like I loved every aspect of it, but I certainly did not think that a 2-mile long course like it just didn't make sense in my head.
Love
So
when
I
you
don't.
turned around in your chair earlier today and you were like, 2 miles? These runs are 60 seconds.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah.
Right.
But no, super cool to see. And then second topic of the week, another really cool event, and the third one is too. Jesper Theater hosted the first ever Unrailistic event. This was inspired by the Unrailistic edits that we've had in the past. There have been 2 of them now. And this was kind of a rail jam style event over multiple days. There was a best trick competition and then kind of an overall or a 2-run format competition. They kind of did some score combining between those 2 days to give you an overall winner, but just crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Like huge, long, technical,
Yeah.
numerous, like all of those superlative adjectives go into this event. Like,
Yeah.
Really impressive stuff.
And I should have said before we finished Red Bull Cascade coverage there, we didn't talk about who won because I think it'd be fun to allow people to go and check out who won that event. I do kind of want to call out who won Unrailistic.
All right.
Did you recognize this name, Bob? I was unsure if you would or not. You may have just not been super involved in free skiing in this era, but do you remember Andreas Hottveit?
I remember the name. I couldn't pick him out of 2 people, but
So Andreas, I believe, is older than me. He's got to be close to 40 now. If not, he's very close to my age. He hadn't competed in over 10 years and took the overall win.
that's pretty impressive.
So yeah,
Gives you hope.
totally. Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. This event does not give me hope. I will not be showing up to Unrealistic and competing very well. I think I could slide all the features, but I wouldn't be doing very impressive tricks. I thought this gave me hope.
Yeah.
There weren't any crazy right side double corks in this event. I could ski through this course and actually put a run together.
No, and a lot of the jumps were looked very more up and down.
Manageable.
Yeah.
Rather than when I watch a World Cup slopestyle course,
Yeah.
I'm like, "Nyeh."
Right. I don't want to go 50 into that thing.
Don't really want to go hit that 80-foot
Yeah.
jump. But this looked fun.
Yeah, totally.
So, Bobby Brown, I will await my invitation to next year's Red Bull Cascade event. If you guys can leave some comments telling Bobby Brown to do that, that'd be great. But back to Unrealistic, I thought this was super cool. And just to kind of highlight some of the rails, there was a triple S rail that we've seen a lot of footage from, an octo kink.
Yep.
Which, some of these things just sound funny when you put the prefix in front of them.
Right.
Double kink, triple kink, quad
Just
kink.
keep
Those are
going.
normal things.
Yeah.
Octo kink is weird. There was a spiral rail that I think you've probably seen a clip of Jesper because that's been bouncing around the internet for weeks now. A double X rail. So, yeah, wrap your mind around that.
That one looks scary.
Totally. Huge rainbow, which I don't think the word huge does it justice.
That one looks scary.
Ton of other things too. Yeah, the rainbow looks scary, but it would be so fun. Like if you were able to follow somebody in for speed, like after that, like pretty easy. So that was super cool. There is a like 2-hour long recap video on Red Bull TV. I have not watched the whole thing, but I will be doing so tonight.
Good plans.
Not yet to the knowledge of my girlfriend, but she'll enjoy it too. And then third topic of the week, Swatch Nines is kind of our third competition that we're highlighting here. And I say competition because it is technically a competition. It culminates in a big air comp. But to me, the highlight of this week is just the culture, the camaraderie, all the footage that you get to see out of it over the whole week. It's quite unique in the sense that it brings together skiers and snowboarders, men and women. This year they also had a skate park in the middle of the feature, so there were like skateboarders too. They bring in like really elite drone pilots to help with the filming, and then you get some of those just like incredible drone shots, like super close to somebody hitting a massive big air jump. So I thought that was really cool. Seems like an awesome creative outlet for the skiers and snowboarders, and I have to imagine a very inspiring atmosphere.
My favorite is how you can tell that the construction was built for coordination. And then seeing that come to life is really impressive.
People hitting it different ways and stuff.
So I'm sure there's a fair amount of, like freestyle, like spur of the moment type things, but then there also seems to be a component of let's organize these people going at this speed, doing this jump. And like the big jumps that they have, they can basically fit 6 people off of the things at the same time, or 8 or whatever. So seeing that those things match up, like the design and then the execution is really impressive.
I think it's very rooted in geometry and physics and engineering.
And like the synchronization is incredible. So I was really impressed with that.
And as opposed to like if you took 8 people up to Stowe and you were like, all right, everybody hit the standard line all at once. Be like, oh gosh.
It wouldn't look quite the same.
So that was cool. Shout out to Max Moffat for winning that big air competition. It's kind of a cool format because you do a style trick and then a technical trick. He did a 360 blunt bring back, so like sets like a 360 and lands at 180. Crazy. And then he also did a double cork 1440 lead Cuban grab, which I bet is not in your repertoire of grabs. No. Oh well.
Before we move on, real quick, if you get invited to one of those 3 events, which one are you choosing?
Gosh.
Next year, you get one.
I'd probably Nines, because I think like I would benefit the most out of that. Like if I had a week straight to hit jumps like that, I'd get back some old tricks and maybe learn some new ones. Where like Cascade, I would like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Describe it.
I would falsely optimistically think I had a chance of winning. But that would be fun, and I feel like that would be more of a test of like my current ski ability.
All right.
So I don't know.
No.
I don't think I'm getting an invite to Nines. I don't think I'm getting an invite to any of these things, but like I can dream.
I love living in a hypothetical world too.
Yep, totally. And then last topic of the week, moving away from those event recaps, Beartooth Basin that we've talked about before has announced their summer opening in Wyoming. Bob, you were looking more in depth into the location.
Kind of north central Wyoming. It looked pretty far from any other ski area that I could think of. I'm sure there's something in the area, but I just love the concept of a ski area opening Memorial Day.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's not in the Southern Hemisphere.
For us New Englanders, can't help but notice that it looks a lot like Tux.
It's just a little version of Tuckerman's Ravine
Yeah.
with
Is it little though? I don't know if it's little version of Tux.
It has a very similar bowl layout. I have no idea how big it is.
Yeah, it might be bigger.
Yeah.
Because you said that, and then I was looking at the pictures. I was like,
I don't know.
It might be bigger than Tux.
But
It's 1,000 vertical feet. How many vertical feet is Tux? I should know this.
600.
Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, really cool. Got some Poma lifts. I think there were two lifts.
Yep.
So that's really cool. I would love to go check that place out. And then if you're looking to do some skiing this summer, we also have a kind of short list of other great options. I would say none of which are a surprise. So Mammoth Mountain and Palisades Tahoe, they're both planning on being open as long as they can. I certainly wouldn't be surprised if Mammoth made it close to August. I would basically guarantee they're going to make it to July.
At which point it's just going to get cold again.
I know. They get so close to the year-round season. Maybe someday, as we head into an ice age or something.
Yeah.
A Basin will be open for a while. I don't know that their snowpack is quite as robust. Certainly not as robust as this next resort. Snowbird has announced a bit of an extended season. Bet it'd be a blast to go ski there.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of similar. We had that spring trip in Alta last year, and seems like a great place to spend your spring and early summer. And then, of course, we have the normal locations: Mount Hood, Whistler. I might get a chance to make it out to Whistler in July this year.
Yeah.
Which would be very cool. Never skied on the glacier in Whistler. And with that, that's it for this week's news topics. Bob, anything you want to add before we go into these edits?
I mean, if you didn't get enough edits from those
There's
three
just more
events, we
edits.
just have more. There's always more videos to watch,
edits.
it seems.
Yeah, and actually from this week's Top 5 Friday, I think we've covered like 12 hours of content for you.
You can really have your weekend set.
So first we have moving right along, episode 6 with Michaela Schifrin has turned into a very successful series, as I've mentioned before. And then second edit of the week, we have the replay of finals from that IFSA NORAM junior competition that we covered either last week or the week before. I can't even remember now. Matt McGinnis, our esteemed colleague, was out there coaching, as was Emily. So check that out, and you can see some of their athletes skiing. I believe there were some podium finishes for a few Mad River athletes. And then we have the full replay of the first stop of Travis Rice's Natural Selection Tour. This is 4 hours long, so there's 4 out of your 12 hours right there, Bob.
That's a big dent.
Yeah.
A big dent in the weekend.
Like, I don't know that I have 4 hours to watch snowboarding.
I do not.
There you go. And then last edit of the week, this one's really quick. Everyone has time to watch this. It's about 1.5 minutes long, if I remember correctly. And it's the recap from Frank 2023, which is kind of the end of the season party event at Alta. And this was put together from the Daily POW. Very entertaining.
Yep.
We'll have to make it out to Frank one of these years.
Looks like there's a lot going on.
Yeah. My good friend Willie Nelson, I believe, is an important element.
He's a headliner.
He's a headliner. Yes. So that's it for this week's Top 5 Fridays. Kind of funky weather here in Vermont right now. You could ski this weekend. You could mountain bike.
Yep.
You could golf. You could
go to Boston.
Yeah, you could go to Boston. Speaking of Boston, go Celtics.
Yep.
Really pulled it together last night.
It looked dicey there for a little while.
Yeah, it wasn't great, but the way we finished that fourth quarter last night gives me a lot of confidence moving forward. Go Bruins?
Yeah, they're trying to finish it off too. I think it's tonight.
Forgive me for not knowing.
Yeah, well, different sports.
Right.
I don't know. We're heading to Boston this weekend. My kids are convinced that we're going to the Bruins game. And I have to convince them that we don't have tickets.
It's not even in Boston.
Yeah, maybe Sunday. I'm not sure, but
Game 7.
Game 7 will be in Boston if there's a game 7.
But tonight's Game 6 or the next.
I don't know.
Your kids are confused.
They still think we're going to a Bruins game. We're not.
Oh, well. So, anyways, hope everyone has a fantastic weekend, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye.